As you know, preparing this seminar about job inclusion, school inclusion, we have decided to make a small survey to know the situation in the different country of the law and the application of the law about school inclusion. This report and also all the questionnaire will be on the reserved area of EDSA. Probably we'll put the report in the open area so all the people can see, but the different questionnaire coming from the different country we'll put in the reserved area because I think it's interesting to read the different individual answers, because I can find something similar to my context and I can share my experience directly with the experience of another country. We have put 12 questions about the characteristic of school inclusion in the various countries. We have proposed to all members of EDSA, and we receive 21 questionnaires from 19 countries. So I think is a good result, because we have a very clear situation of different countries from the western east of Europe. The countries that have answered are Albania, Austria, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Norway, Romania, Scotland, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, Turkey, United Kingdom. I have received another questionnaire yesterday and I cannot include, but we'll put in the reserved area also the new questionnaire from Danish people. The first question is, in your country the law provides for students with disability to be included in special school, in mainstream school, both. As you see, only in Italy and Portugal all the students are included by law. There are only 2 countries in which we have no special school in this moment.
And that's
Portugal and Italy. Portugal and Italy. Only in Slovenia there is only the special school, because in Slovenia the small experience of inclusion are only experimental project, but there is not the law. In all the other countries, the dual channels continues to exist. This is the situation of the law. And in which way we can find this situation? We ask in every school, only in nursery and kindergartens, in primary schools only. And so the situation is this one. Normally the inclusion is in every school in the most part of the countries. Only in some countries is limited in the first years, nursery and primary school. After we have asked what is the situation of the people with Down syndrome, and we have asked where are the people with Down syndrome, what kind of school they attended. There is a little more in the mainstream school. 12 countries as the most part of the students with Down syndrome in mainstream school, and 9 countries as the majority in the special school. So I think this is a sign that the line is toward the school inclusion, but obviously we are on the path. We are not in the results. We have asked another aspect that is very, very, very important. When stay a student attending a school for inclusion is included in mainstream class, is part of a special class in the school of the inclusion, or divide the time, part of the time in special class and part in mainstream school. And we have seen that the majority of the students make a part in the mainstream class and a part outside of the class. Only in 6 situations, 6 countries, the presence is always, all the time in the mainstream school. This is another sign, because it means that also in the situation of mainstreaming school, we have to work to understand in which way to favorite the presence of the students really in the class with the other students and find a way to work together. Another aspect that for us is very, very important is the aspect connected with the support for the inclusion. And we find, in this case, there could be more than one answer. But the majority in 19 countries, the people say the support teacher for part or all the time is the more important support for school inclusion. The second answer, more signed, is the resources. In 10 situations, in 10 countries, we have found that there are specific resources like book, like technologies to help the presence and the study of the student in mainstream school. In 8 countries, the reduction of the number of students in the class. I think this is a very important aspect, because obviously if the class is very big, it's very different to be a real inclusion. Many countries have a specific law that establish, for example, that if you have a student with a disability in a class, the total number of the students of the class must be maximum 20-25 children. And this is another way to support a real inclusion. After, in some countries, 6 countries, we found customized transports for the people with disability that are helped by this solution. Normally is a solution that is provided by the municipalities that help the students to arrive to school. In 6 countries, we have assistant for personal autonomy. Is a general definition, because in some cases is a real assistant for personal autonomy, physical assistance. In some cases is, for example, in Italy, for the high school, are educators that help to improve the social autonomy of the student included in the school. But is a different professional from the teacher, and different role from the teacher in the school. Is another kind of support. About the support teacher, we have a different way to use the time of the support teacher and to work. The majority of the support teacher cooperates with the other regular teachers. It means that stay in the class together, sometimes works also with the other student and not only with the student with disability. Sometimes cooperate with the regular teacher in preparing resources, in preparing lessons to involve the student with disability. But there are 7 cases in which is totally dedicated to the student as far as teacher is concerned, and 7 cases in which works with the student and the rest of the class. In one country in Switzerland, there is no support teacher.
So support teacher, is it different from the teacher assistant? Is it?
Normally the support teacher is a teacher. Teacher assistant sometimes is not a teacher, but is an assistant, is a social professional. It depends from the country, but in this questionnaire, the difference, sometimes I need to interpret the answers because the countries are different, but we wanted to specify that you can have two different forms of support, because one is the support to learn better, to teach in a personalized way. Another kind of support is the support that sometimes is necessary for the autonomy of the students or for the social activity in the school, or in some case in which we have the alternance, school and work, to follow the people in the work experience and things like this. Another question is who pays the support teacher? In the majority of the countries is the public system, state or municipalities, it depends from the law of the countries. There is one country in which are the parents to pay the support teacher. The problem is that also in the country in which there is the support teacher paid by the states, there are some difference between private and public school, because sometimes it is guaranteed in the public school but not in the private school, and sometimes the parents pay the teachers in the private school. The situation of public and private school is very different from country to country, because in some country the law help the private system and give them also the possibility to pay the support teacher. In other countries, no. And so we can find a lot of difference. For this reason, I said that we'll put on the reserved area all the questionnaire, so you can read the story and also the comments that the people has put about this topic. Another question is about the program of studies of the disabled student. And we will see that in the majority of the case may foresee content adaptation. In 14 questionnaire is foresee the reduction of content for all subject of study. 8 case can be reduced only for some subject. In 5 cases is the same as the other students. I think that we have to discuss a lot about this because if the program can be not received some reduction or some facilitation, I suppose that it's very difficult to have a real inclusion of students with disability. And so these 5 cases, I think, is an alarm because it means that only few students can be included, because if they need to follow the system, obviously that there is also big difference from the level of studies, because one thing is the primary school, another thing is the high school. In my experience, obviously that the reduction of the program is more important in the secondary school and less important in the primary school, in which sometimes really the program is the same. There is some adaptation overall in the way in which they study.
Which are those 5 countries? If you remember?
I'm sorry?
Which are those 5 countries?
You have to take the
No.
question right. In this moment I don't remember. Another question is about the qualification. What is the title of study? In 12 countries, the qualification is sometimes a qualification with the same value of the other student. In some cases, is the certificate of attendance and an attestation of frequency and skill acquired. This is a case of Norway and Spain, in which this, I think that the majority is in some case the one, in others the other, because it depends also from the adoption and another time from the level of school. because, for example, normally there is no difference in the primary school, in the qualification, but normally in the secondary school could be a big difference connecting with the program that they have followed during the years of the secondary school. Because obviously if there is a big reduction of the content of the curriculum, normally they give a certificate of attendance with skills acquired. I have seen in my experience that it's very important that the certification of attendance has the possibility to clarify the skills acquired, because it's important for job inclusion, obviously. In the last years, I suppose in the most part of country, is more important the certification of skills than the title. And so in these cases, for the evaluation of the student, in 18 cases is made according to the personal program. In 3 cases works with the same system with other students. I think it's the same country, that same, that there is no reduction or no difference in the curriculum. The last two questions regard the university. In your country, are there Down syndrome students attending university? The unique case are Italy and Spain, and also in Italy and Spain there are also Down syndrome persons graduated in the university. I think this is not an objective, is not our goal, is a reality, that is a sign that give us something to reflect. Is not our goal, because really I have seen some experience in the university. Sometimes is a real experience, sometimes is a desire of the family, and is a big effort without the opportunity to spend really the title. And so not always is a good opportunity to have the university, but I think is a sign to inclusion, to general inclusion in the context. And in some case is a good experience for the people that has participated. In conclusion, I think that we are going towards school inclusion, but the experience of special school is still very strong. In 86% of the countries there is still the dual channel, and sometimes the people comment that the choice sometimes depends from the level of the student. The choice sometimes depends only by the availability of the school, the feeling of the school in front of the parents, and so sometimes are the parents that decide. Sometimes are the context. There are no school opening in this context. Most children with Down syndrome are in mainstream school, and I think this is very important. But in 66% of the country, they spend at least part of the day out of the classroom. And this is another aspect to study, because sometimes this time spent out of the classroom is connected with the time spent in the class, and it's only a moment to help the learning, but sometimes is a way to take a part. And so we have to stay very aware about this topic, because could be a way to make special school in the mainstream school, and so it's very, very important. Support teacher is the most used form of support, but I think it is very important. Don't consider this kind of support enough to guarantee a very good school inclusion, because I think it's very, very important the system of the school, around the children. And so the system, it means also the work in which support teacher work with the other teacher. There is also the aspect of the training of the regular teacher in the school. In some countries there is experience in which also in the studies of the regular teachers there is a part dedicated to the students with disability. There are other countries in which there is nothing in the curriculum of the regular teachers, and this is another important aspect. And another aspect are the support of the context, resources, number of children in the school, opportunity to work in connection with the service of rehabilitation, the way in which the family are involved in the designing the curriculum inside the project of life of the people with intellectual disability included in the school. I think that there is still much to do, but we have a line, and so over this line we can work together. Thank you.
Thank you.